what is the number one reason someone wants to move to Dubai?
I would say the absolute number one reason, even if it's a little bit of a stereotype.
I think if you're a single guy who likes to party and you have no financial literacy, Dubai will literally drain you and send you home. The reality is that countries like the UAE and some Eastern countries like China and even like Thailand or Malaysia, they are building something incredible here. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tom here. I have a really exciting episode today with my friend Lucas.
Hi.
Yeah, he's from a company called Dubai Navigator. And I actually came across his YouTube channel when I was thinking about moving to Dubai. And I reached out to him because I thought his videos were very informative. He drops a lot of golden nuggets backed with data, which is something I love. I don't like people's opinions because most of the time they're wrong, but you can argue with numbers, and that's something that he's really shown well on his YouTube channel. So I reached out to him and I signed up for his services, and he helped me with the entire process of moving as a Canadian to Dubai. So in this video, I'm gonna do a deep dive with him and ask him everything, what the step-by-step process is to move to Dubai if you're considering it. And by the way, I'm gonna add his contact info on the bottom. And if you have any questions, he does free consultations. Hop on a free call with him, ask him about questions, share with him your thoughts and your situation. Everybody's unique. And yeah, this is gonna be a good conversation. So thanks for hopping on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. That was a great introduction.
Thank you. Thank you. I practiced that a lot last night in front of the mirror. But, so tell me first, before we get into the whole Dubai thing, like, when did you come to, how did you land up in Dubai?
That is a good question. I mean, like most of your viewers, I assume, I'm from a high-tech country. So I'm from Germany originally. And in Germany, if you want to start a business, if you want to earn a high income, obviously you're getting punished, like in most other countries nowadays. And already as a kid, when I was like 13, 14 years old, I knew I couldn't live in Germany. I always wanted to move abroad, and primarily to Dubai. So I was like, even in middle school, I was obsessed with Dubai because I saw all the skyscrapers being constructed at the time. We had like Burj Khalifa was still the tallest skyscraper in the world, was still under construction. The largest mall, Dubai Mall, was still under construction. So it was so exciting to follow the progress that Dubai was seeing at the time. And then there was no personal income tax. At the time, there wasn't even a corporate income tax, no capital gains tax, no property tax, no inheritance tax. It was also relatively easy to get a visa. You could just open a company or invest and obtain a visa. And in Germany, nothing was ever, improving. Taxes were sky high. Taxes were increasing. And the weather was also not nice. So I thought, it's not exciting in the place I was born in, coincidentally, and I want to leave. So I left when I was 18 years old. I went to university before I came to Dubai. I did some other businesses, but I always knew I wanted to come to Dubai eventually. So our family, we invested in Dubai early on, and then in 2020, I made the move to spend all my time full time here in Dubai. And then that's also when I started the Dubai Navigator, assisting people and businesses relocate to Dubai and also invest here. So that's my story.
So you came across Dubai at the age of 13 and 14. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Like how did you heard like a radio ad, or how did you even come across Dubai in the first place?
As a kid, I was always highly political. So I'm a libertarian, and obviously as a libertarian living in Germany, it's not the right fit. And I would disagree with literally almost everyone in Germany, all the politics. And then I just thought, like, what alternatives are there? So I researched many different countries. This is how I stumbled across Dubai. And so that's the main aspect, I would say.
Gotcha. And since 2020, how many clients do you think you have helped?
I would say, it depends, because we have two business divisions. So the company is like approximately 50% in revenue from relocation services, tax strategies, company setups, visa applications, and all of that. And then the other division of the company, around the other 50% of revenue, is real estate consulting. So basically, we are not real estate agents. We don't want to sell you any properties. We don't work with any developers. We just collect market data and analyze that data and then develop models to forecast what types of properties will perform well, which properties will likely depreciate in value. So we have these two divisions. And even though the relocation service is like 50% in revenue, we have fewer customers there because the ticket item, I mean, is greater. So we've helped around 200 businesses and individuals in that division. And for real estate, there's much, I mean, there are more people investing in Dubai, not relocating. So in that area, we've had around 300, 400 customers. So
Gotcha.
That's about it.
And out of the 200, what would you say, where are most people coming from? Has it been a clear pattern?
Yeah, definitely. So the vast majority comes from the United Kingdom. I would say approximately 40%. And that's because of one very important reason. The United Kingdom doesn't currently have exit taxes. So,
wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, yes. So unfortunately, the vast majority of developed economies, the United States, Canada, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, they have exit taxes. So if you already live there, you own real estate, you own stocks, you have a business there, and you want to move to Dubai, you would actually be taxed on any unrealized capital gains. And a lot of people are not aware of that. And in the United Kingdom, they don't have that rule. So a lot of entrepreneurs, for example, in the United Kingdom that spent decades, in some cases, building up a business from zero to millions in pounds in value, they want to cash out, maybe when they're in their 50s or when they're 60 years old, and they just move to Dubai. Once they have obtained residency in Dubai, they can sell the business. They don't pay any exit tax when moving here, and also they don't pay any capital gains tax in the United Kingdom. So for them, it is obviously highly profitable to move to Dubai. And in some cases, these individuals also return to the United Kingdom. So they would have to spend at least 5 years in Dubai in order to keep these tax benefits. And then they can move back to the United Kingdom and they don't have to back pay any taxes.
You're kidding.
No, yeah, that's, yeah.
That is okay. So let me just break that down. So let's say if I have I come from e-commerce world, right? Let's say if I have a $10 million business that's doing $2 million in EBITDA. In the e-commerce world, that is basically you can sell that for, call it 3 to 4x EBITDA. So that's like, call it $6 to $8 million in profit. Now, when you sell your business, that's a capital gains event. So you have to basically pay capital gains. In Canada, when I sold my business, I think we paid effectively around like, call it, I forget the exact numbers, but call it like a quarter. So let's say you sell your business, end up selling your business for 10 million, you have to pay 2.5 million. Actually, it was a little bit higher than that, I think, but 2.5 million in taxes. However, in the UK, if you know you're going to sell, you move to Dubai, you live here for 5 years, and then you can bring all that money back to the UK, and you don't have to pay capital gains, and that is. Wow, that is something else. That's amazing.
Yeah, you need to spend at least 5 years in Dubai. If
Gotcha.
you return after 2 or 3 years, they will know, the tax authorities in the UK will know, and you have to back pay those taxes.
Gotcha.
So, but usually after 5 years, most individuals who came here just for the tax purpose, they just stay because they like it so much.
Yeah. And then they do like the winters here, and then they do the summers back in the UK, and it's only like a 6-hour flight anyway.
Yeah,
so it's like
7 hours. 7 to 8 hours. Yeah,
7 to 8 hours. Yeah. So that's that seems okay. So 40% come from UK. Where the 60% comes from?
So the other 60% is a wide mix of countries. Usually the United States, Canada a lot. And then other European countries such as Germany, Netherlands, France.
And what would you say, like when you get on these consulting calls, like what is the number one reason someone wants to move to Dubai? Now, 2-part question, because I think under any motivation, there's like the pull and the push factor.
Right.
So Dubai is kind of the pull, like why you chose Dubai. But then the push factor, can you talk a little bit about the push factor? Why do people actually want to leave these first world countries?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would say the absolute number one reason, even if it's a little bit of a stereotype, it is really the taxes. People want to come here because there's no personal income tax. Once you live here, you can invest in the stock market. Even in the United States, there's not going to be any capital gains taxes. This is the number one reason. And then anything else, like the weather, the lifestyle, that is secondary, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, especially if they're coming from the United States or from Europe, they're not coming from absolutely horrific places like Los Angeles or Miami. These are not bad places to live in terms of living standard, right? I mean, Dubai can compete with those cities. But if it wasn't for the tax situation, most of those individuals would probably stay in their countries. And so that's the number one reason. But then once people relocate here for the taxes, usually they start to understand the system and how it works very differently to the West. So in Dubai, there's almost no taxes. But on the other hand, you also don't get anything. There's no welfare system. All the schooling is 100% privatized. All the universities are privatized. And if you have a high income, you can actually live much better in Dubai because of that. So you're not paying any property taxes, for example, and some of the money that is saved, you can invest that into a private education for your kids in Dubai. And private schools are also cheaper here than in most European countries or in the United States. So you get much better quality usually. You can choose among more than 220 private schools. And these private schools have different follow different educational systems, from India to the UK to the international baccalaureate. They're American high schools, so you have really full freedom of choice. And then there are many other benefits as well. So there's a lot of brand new real estate that's very luxurious and quite price competitive, at least compared to other major cities such as New York, Miami, Los Angeles, London, and so on. There's tremendous safety. So you don't even necessarily need to lock your home or your car. You can leave valuables at the restaurant table and literally leave the table unattended for half an hour. It's super safe. And then usually people arrive here for the tax purposes, for tax reasons. Then after 1 or 2 years, they realize all the benefits that they're getting out of Dubai, and usually they stay. And even now that the UAE introduced a 9% corporate income tax, or for example, a few years ago, they introduced a 5% VAT. Because believe it or not, like in 2010, there wasn't even a VAT. There was literally no tax at all. Despite these minor taxes now in place, we haven't seen people leave because of that. To the contrary, more people are arriving.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think, the misconception once I got here was, we in Canada, we say we have free healthcare. Okay,
Yeah.
That's like what we're known for, or free education. Depending on your income level, that could be not the case, because I've personally paid over the past few years millions and millions of dollars just in taxes, the exit of my company, capital gains event. And what I realized is that those taxes are actually going into the free healthcare system, the free education system. And my healthcare in Canada is actually not free. I paid a lot of money for it. Now, someone on a different type of income level, maybe they're not paying any taxes, or because I think in Canada, like if you're earning like below 20,000, I don't think you have to pay any taxes or something like that. I forget, but it's free for them, right? So it just kind of really depends on your income level that the free becomes not so free. The free becomes very expensive up to a certain point.
Absolutely. That's socialism
Yeah.
at the end of the day. If you're super successful, if you spend all of your free time building businesses and increasing your income by 10 or by a factor of 100, you're going to pay probably more than 100 times in taxes because it's progressive. And the quality of the schooling, of the healthcare, of the roads, nothing is really improving for you. So there's there are almost no incentives, actually disincentives, to work your butt off and try to achieve something greater. because you're being punished at the end of the day, and that's the case, unfortunately, in most Western countries nowadays.
Yeah.
And in Dubai, that's not the case. So if you have a lower income in Dubai, life will be more difficult. No questions about that. But even if you just have an average income, like 80,000, 100,000 US dollar per year, you can live better in Dubai already.
Yeah.
And if you earn more than 100,000, your life will be much better financially and in terms of quality of service and all of that.
Yeah, for sure. I think Dubai just has such a large range of people say, oh, it's expensive to live in Dubai, right? I think you can survive here literally on like probably $20 a day.
Yeah.
Or you can spend $20 million a day. Like literally the range is so freaking wide that it's hard for you to even understand how wide it is. Like right now I'm in Dubai Hills. I drove over a bridge. I forget the name of the bridge, but then I'm in another part of town where it's completely different.
You
right?
probably mean Al-Khors, the industrial area,
yeah, industrial.
right?
It's like completely different. Like you really feel like you're in the Middle East now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh
Yeah,
wow.
very
Whereas
exotic.
in like Dubai Hills or other parts like Dubai Marina, you're like, oh, this feels like it's in like super advanced Western society or something like that. Actually, funny enough, I'm from Vancouver. There's a seawall in Vancouver, and in the marina there's also a seawall. And apparently, okay, so they look identical. If you put a picture beside one another, they look literally identical, copy and paste. And apparently, through the grapevines, that it's the same architect that actually designed both.
Dubai Marina and the seawall.
Seawall in Dubai Marina and the seawall in Vancouver.
There's a good
It's the
video
exact same.
on YouTube on that, right?
I'm not too sure, but someone told me that.
I watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there is
right.
like Dubai, there's like little bubbles that it feels, but then once you go outside the bubble, you're like, oh wow, it's like very different. So I wanted to ask you, I'm sure a lot of our viewers now want to ask, okay, like, you know, I want to move to Dubai. Like, how does this entire process work? So I think one of the number one misconceptions that I've heard people saying is like they own a business in Canada, right? They live in Canada. They're like, oh, well, I can just open up a Dubai corporation and then not pay any tax. And then I funnel all my money to Dubai and then I can keep my money there tax free. I'm like, okay, if you want to go to jail for tax evasion, yes, like you can do that. No one's going to stop you. That is not how it works. So why don't we kind of give an actual example, break down a step-by-step of how someone from, let's just say Canada, because that's where I'm from. Most of my viewers are US or Canada, North America. So if I want to move to Dubai, like what's step 1, step 2, step 3?
Yes, right. So the main question that you should think about is how much time are you willing to actually spend in Dubai or outside of your home country. So if you want to continue to spend 8 months of the year in Canada, for example, it will be somewhat difficult to benefit from Dubai's low taxes. I mean, Dubai at the end of the day doesn't care how much time you spend here. There are literally individuals who set up a business in Dubai. They spend just 1 week of the year in Dubai and they remain tax-free, and it's fine because they are spending the other 50 weeks of the year in a variety of other countries, like traveling around the world. But if you're spending more than 6 months in Canada or in any other country, you will be a tax resident of that country. And then having a company in Dubai does not help you that much, particularly if that business doesn't have any nexus. So this means geographic presence or physical presence in Dubai. If there's no office, there's no staff, there's no general manager, no director, no shareholder living in Dubai, then this company would actually be categorized for tax purposes as a resident of the country where the general manager lives. So if you spend all of your time in Canada or more than 6 months, this company, even though it's registered in Dubai, would actually be considered a tax resident of Canada, and the Canadian tax authorities would tax it according to Canadian corporate income tax. So what can you do if you do want to benefit from these lower taxes? There are many options. Some are 100% legal, others are a little bit of in the gray area.
Yeah, let's talk about maybe the legal things. Let's just stick with the legal things.
The absolute easiest option would be just get a Dubai visa, and there are many ways you can get a visa. Just by opening the company, you qualify for a shareholder visa or an employee visa, and then you just spend the majority of the year in Dubai, and then, I mean, that's solved. Alternatively, if you don't want to spend that much time in Dubai, you want to visit other countries, maybe Europe, Italy, Spain, that is fine as well, as long as you don't spend more than it depends on the country, but more than 3 or 6 months, depending on the country. In any of those countries, that's fine as well. And then if you don't spend a significant amount of time in Canada. In addition, you should break off any significant ties to Canada. So for example, if you have a property there, an apartment, whether you're renting that or whether you own it outright, you would have to get rid of that, because if you continue to have this like physical property there, Canada would argue, you're just temporarily outside of the country, you're planning to return, and they don't like that.
Yeah, so just sorry to interrupt you, but with that point, I would say, so we went through a company in Canada. So you help people to come to Dubai, and you help people a little bit about, their home country as well. But the thing is, every home country is a little bit different, right?
It is, yeah.
But you Dubai is your specialization.
Yes.
So I worked with a tax firm called Thor, so the Thorstons. They're the biggest tax firm in Canada, actually. They specialize in taxes. So they actually provided me with a complete checklist of all the things that I should do before I leave Canada.
Yeah.
So just some examples, like cancel your driver license.
Yes.
Cancel your gym memberships. Cancel your, with regards to physical properties, actually. So this is what I heard from them. They said, you can keep your physical property. That's not a problem. You just have to make sure it's not accessible to you.
Yeah, you like renting it out to someone
You have
else.
to rent it out.
Exactly.
You have to have a tenancy contract. You have to go through a property management company or go sell it. But the fact that if you just want to leave it vacant, they don't like that.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So all of this is essentially you're just building up a story. It's never so black and white. It's never never like, oh, you canceled your driver license, therefore you are no longer.
Yeah.
It's more of a holistic story that you have to paint to the CRA or the IRS saying, listen, I got out of Canada. I no longer have any ties to Canada. Look at me. I spent 9 months of last year in Dubai. I live in Dubai. I do my business in Dubai. I have Dubai credit card. I have Dubai driver license. Like, my life is now in Dubai. That's the story that you want to paint. But if you have driver license in Canada, gym memberships, golf course memberships, this and that, they're going to be like, well, you still have so much ties to Canada. So we don't know that you're living in Dubai or not, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And those rules, as you mentioned, they're not black and white at all. Oftentimes, it really depends on the tax official that is literally looking at your case. And even within a country like Canada, there can be differences from province to province, how strict they are, how much time the tax authority in your jurisdiction has to actually look at your case. So, yeah, so it is not that clear. But, I mean, the more time you spend in Dubai, the better.
Yeah.
And the less time in Canada.
Yeah. So I have a question about this business visa thing. So earlier you had mentioned, okay, you can literally be in Dubai for 1 week of the year.
Yeah.
And then you have a Dubai Corp, and then you run everything out of Dubai Corp. Let's say you're e-commerce. You just need a Wi-Fi. You don't need to be here. So you can come to Dubai for 1 week of the year. Then you go to Philippines or Southeast Asia, Thailand or USA or whatever it might be. And you spend maybe 3 months in each of those countries because you cannot spend, let's say, 6 months in that country. Then you become like a tax resident of that country, right? So you kind of bounce around. But then I had asked you this question before on WhatsApp, where some people, when they come back to Dubai, they're getting like,
their visa canceled.
Yeah, their visa canceled. So what's the story around that again?
So yeah, first of all, this depends on the type of visa that you get, because Dubai offers all kinds of visas. One way is to just open a company, then you can get a shareholder visa or an employee visa. Another way is
That's the one I have, right?
Yes, exactly. Another way is to get a 10-year golden visa, and also for that, there are different routes to obtain that visa.
Yeah. And what are some routes? Buying a property that's over 500,000 USD.
Approximately 550,000 US dollar, which is 2 million dirham.
Yeah.
Just buying this property. It can also be multiple properties. It can even be an off-plan property on which you just made a down payment of 10%. They changed the rule earlier this year, so they're now allowing that. You could also put the same amount of money, 550,000 US dollar, just into a fixed deposit bank account. And you just have to keep it locked up for 2 years. After 2 years, you can take the funds out. You keep the 10-year visas, and that's also an option. And you even earn interest on that amount. And there are also other ways to get a golden visa if you have certain credentials, if you're a successful doctor or athlete, or you have patents and so on. So there are many ways to get such a 10-year golden visa. So for the golden visa program, once you have that visa, it does not matter how many days you spend inside the UAE. You can literally be away for years at a time.
Oh, wow.
And they're not going to cancel anything.
Oh, wow.
So that's
Okay.
the main advantage of that. And also you only have to renew your visa every 10 years. So that's a huge advantage. If you have a business visa, so a shareholder visa or an employee visa like yourself, there are more requirements. So, for example, one requirement is you have to spend at least 1 day every 180 days inside the country. Otherwise, they cancel the visa. That's
1 day out of 6 months.
Yes, exactly. So basically, if you want to spend most of your time in the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, whatever, you just need to come to Dubai for 1 day. You don't even have to stay overnight. You just have to pass through immigration. That's important.
Get the stamp, basically.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you can take advantage of Dubai as a hub with Emirates. So you can fly from Indonesia to Europe, do a 1 day stopover in Dubai, and then it's not even costing you any money. Probably you even save money because you have a stopover on the way. So exactly, and Dubai does not care besides this one rule, Dubai doesn't care how much time you spend here. It's always the other countries, because Dubai doesn't have any taxes anyways. So it's the other countries that have high taxes that would like to get a share of your income, and they're trying to find ways to get their share, and this is what you would need to avoid.
So going back to getting people the visa getting canceled, is that because they haven't even been back? One day?
Probably spent 9 months outside of the country. Something like that.
Gotcha. So that's the reason.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So every 6 months, come back, get it stamped. If that's you, like for us, we're living here, so we're not gonna, we rented a place for a year, so we're planning on actually living here.
There's some exemptions because, for example, sometimes you have to go back to your home country for a medical emergency of your parents or whatever, and in those cases you can apply for an extension of this 6-month rule, and it's not that strict, thankfully.
So with the golden visa, there's a little bit of an entry to barrier with people because you need some capital, right? You either put $550,000 into a fixed income account for savings account for 2 years. I didn't know that you can actually withdraw after 2 years and you still get the 10-year golden visa.
Yeah, that's the advantage, because with properties, once you go below the 2 million threshold. So, for example, you sell the property, you lose the visa.
That property is attached to your visa,
basically. Yes, actually, the property is actually locked with the Dubai Land Department, so you cannot even sell it. You have to cancel the visa, and then you have to go to the Dubai Land Department, then they unlock this property, and then you can sell it. It's quite strict,
Interesting.
But what you can do is you can, of course, if you want to sell the first property that you bought, you can buy additional properties. As long as the total investment amount is above 2 million dirham, then you're fine. You can buy, sell properties.
And then what I find so fascinating, and so smart of them, is the fact that they say, hey, if you buy off-plan property, so in Canada we call that a pre-sale, and if you just put, let's say the property is worth 2 million dirhams, you just need to put 10% down and we'll give you that golden visa. But obviously you have to complete on it. You can't just be like, okay, I'm going to put 10% and then you don't complete on it, then your visa will get revoked anyway.
Yeah, it is. It's smart. But it also has the risk of leading to a potential property bubble in Dubai. There are a lot of foreign investors who are interested in real estate because of the visa benefits, but also because of other reasons, because there's no property tax, there's no capital gains tax, there's no income tax on the rent. And also rental returns are incredibly high in Dubai. So we have, on average, gross rental returns of 8% and net rental returns after you take into account service charges, property management fees, the vacancy laws. Even then you have a net rental return of around 6% on average in the city. Because of all of these benefits, a lot of people are investing in Dubai, oftentimes right into off-plan or pre-sales. And there's a risk that there are too many properties under construction because of that.
Yeah, I think we can do a whole new other podcast.
Absolutely.
Just on real estate. Because like you said, there's two sides to your business. One's the relocation service, but the other one's real estate. So, I mean, we can return here and basically just talk all about real estate.
Let's do that. Yeah.
I love talking about real estate. Today, let's maybe stick a little bit more about that. So, okay. So let's say, all right, so now the golden visa, you know, I need to have a little bit of money to obviously do this route. But the business visa, so talk a little bit about the business visa. How does that work?
Yeah, so setting up a business in the UAE is more complex than in most other countries. So first of all, we have mainland companies. Those are just regular companies in any other country, but we call them mainland companies. And the reason why we call them mainland companies because they're also free zones. There are around 50 economic free zones, and you can set up a regular mainland company or a company in one of these free zones. So free zones have benefits. There's much less bureaucracy, there are fewer rules and regulations, so it will be easier for you to maintain that business. The cost of setting up a company is approximately the same for free zones and for mainland companies. And so you would have to decide what kind of company you set up, and it depends on your business activity. So if you want to have local operations, you want to have local customers in the UAE, you want to set up a shop in a shopping mall, for example, you would usually need to have a mainland company. If you have international operations, you work remotely, you have an e-commerce business, a free zone company would be much better because there's much less bureaucracy. Even then, it's a little bit tricky selecting the right free zone where you actually want to set up this business. So if you want to set up a business in a free zone located in Dubai, it will be more expensive compared to a free zone in one of the other Emirates. So the United Arab Emirates, the country, has 7 Emirates. One of these Emirates is Dubai, another one is Abu Dhabi. There are also other Emirates such as Sharjah and Ras Al Khaimah. Those are not as economically developed, and it is significantly cheaper to set up a business there. And if you set up a business over there, there's some downsides. So, for example, for your visa application, you would have to travel to that other emirate because the UAE does not actually issue federal level visas. So there is no UAE visa. There's a Dubai visa, there's an Abu Dhabi visa. The visa is always connected to the emirate, but you can still live anywhere in the country. So if you want to save a little bit of money, you can go to one of the other Emirates, but then there's a little bit extra work, a little bit extra hassle. If you want to get a driving license, you have to get over to that other Emirate. So it's a little bit complex, and therefore it always depends on the case by case. It's a case by case scenario, basically what's best for you. And but whatever company you have at the end of the day, you can get a shareholder visa if you own part of the company. And if you want to help out other family members who are not shareholders or even friends who want to relocate here and they don't want to set up their own business, you can give them employee visas under your company. So if you're maybe multiple individuals, you can actually just have one company and share the cost of setting up that business, the annual business licensing fees, and then issue multiple visas.
Gotcha. And you don't really have to have a business. You can say I'm starting a business, or how does that work?
Well, we should not. I mean, officially, you should have some kind of business activity,
right.
But nobody's checking that. And there are tons of people that just set up the business. They don't even have a business bank account. They just set it up to get the visa. It's extremely common. And this is the case in the UAE in general. There's some official laws and guidelines, but many of them are not really fully enforced. So that's one of those.
Gotcha. And you basically help people with this entire application process of it, correct?
Yes. I mean, we do. Yeah. So depending on the country that you're from, we help you develop a tax-optimized relocation strategy. So basically, we look at your home country's tax laws to some extent. Of course, we always recommend you to have an additional advisor in your home country, but we are fairly familiar with most tax laws in most major economies. So we help you navigate exit taxation in your home country, potentially closing down the business in your home country. If you want to keep the business in your home country, we help you navigate transfer pricing regulations, how to bill between the different companies in order to minimize all kinds of taxes. And we help you set up businesses in the UAE, do VAT registration, do the visa applications, pretty much all of that we can help you with.
Yeah, so guys, I went through Lucas's service, and I'll just say this, like, I'm very skeptical of a lot of services. I think in the past few years, I've just really had some terrible experiences with people, companies, this and that, and Lucas's service has been A++. Like, he will answer all your questions. He doesn't... Honestly, it's funny because he doesn't even want to take your money. Like, as weird as that might sound, like, I'm trying to give him some money to do the real estate side of things. And he's like, hey, you should just wait until like next year because there's better opportunities. So he's like, I really appreciate your honesty. And I love how analytical and data driven you are. Again, we should do another episode just on real estate because we only have, we don't have too much time left. And that's like a whole other can of worms that we can open up. But like I said, guys, I would highly recommend for you to talk to Lucas and book a free call with him. The link is in the bottom below, in the description below. It's a free consultation call. Just tell him about what you're thinking and your current situation, right? Again, everybody's so different. I had a lot of assets in Canada, so that was very, very complicated. Some people might have more, some people might have less. So it's very, very personalized approach. And then book a call with him, free consultation call, just hear what he has to say, and he can help you literally with every single step of this process. Now, you can do it yourself, and I know other people who has, but for me, it's like, yeah, I would rather just pay a professional to do it. And he's got, all his rates on his website and stuff like that as well. So Lucas, well, I think we provided people with a lot of value on, why they should move to Dubai and how to move to Dubai. Is there any last things that maybe I missed that you want to, share with the viewers, or?
I mean, we could probably talk for several more hours on all, like, anything related to Dubai, like schooling, healthcare, for example. There's so many different issues.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm open to any questions.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, if you have any questions, make sure you contact Lucas. Link is in the description, and he's on WhatsApp, through email, whatever it might be. And I'll just say this. I'll end the call with this, is I feel like moving to a tax haven is almost a glitch in the video game. It's a glitch in the matrix. And what I realized that is a lot of these countries before, they weren't very advanced. If you take a look at UAE maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you were like, hey, you want to move to UAE? Honestly, I probably would have said no. But the reality is that countries like the UAE and some, Eastern countries like China and even like Thailand or Malaysia, they are building something incredible here. You can feel it in the energy. You can feel it. You can see it. You can feel it. You can sense it. You can see, like, physically touch it. They really are running these countries how they should be run.
Yeah, like a company.
Like a company.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they are really, really investing in their own countries, and they're trying to be the number one in everything across the world.
Yeah.
And they're not just saying this. The thing in politics in Canada is that before the election, they will say everything. they will lie out of their freaking teeth. They'll say, oh, we're going to make healthcare faster. Nothing ever happens. Okay, right. Nothing ever gets done. Here, they're like, hey, we're doing this. We're going to do it. That's pretty much it. So,
and I mean, historically, one issue with moving to a tax haven has been that, I mean, most tax havens are like Caribbean nations on the Pacific Ocean. They're very remote. It's not very pleasant to live there. It's very difficult to get there. Other tax havens, such as Monaco, they're extremely expensive.
Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore as well. It's very difficult to even own a car. And Dubai is I would say, the only tax haven, in a way, that allows you to have a high standard of living, like in the United States, with a car, with a large house, and all of that. And it's not overcrowded. You can easily travel anywhere. Everything is super modern. Everything is English speaking. So even though the official language here is Arabic, you are not expected to speak that. 90% of the residents here are foreigners. So even if you go to, when you go to a supermarket, to a restaurant, usually the employees there, they don't even speak Arabic. So everything is English speaking. So that's a major advantage.
Yeah.
And so
That's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. Because before, like you said, I don't want to go live in like a Caribbean. Like what's an example
like St.
of
Kitts and Nevis or Bahamas.
Cayman
Islands.
Cayman Islands. I actually went to Cayman Islands.
Right.
I know someone who lives there. I went to go see it, to try it out. I was like, get me off this island. After 2 weeks, I was going crazy. Okay. I was going insane. And it's actually really expensive to move there as well. I think it costs like, over $1 million or something. So you got all these little islands that there's not a chance. Like if you, if you couldn't even pay me to go live there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got the more expensive, the Monaco, the Singapore, which is how much is it to get into Monaco? I'm just curious.
I mean, Monaco, the main issue is there's almost no housing. So just for a 1-bedroom apartment, you're going to spend $2 million US. It's going to be very old, from the 1960s or 1970s. Wow. Everything is super crowded. That's the main issue.
Gotcha. So cost of living is extremely high.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I've heard people saying like a can of Pepsi is like $20 Canadian or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you go, but it's very expensive. The restaurants, the stores, the shops there, exactly. So that's the advantage of Dubai. And as you mentioned earlier, the cost of living in Dubai is actually not necessarily that high. There's a large population from developing countries such as India and the Philippines, and their incomes are not necessarily that high. And they still have a reasonable standard of living, usually significantly higher than in their home countries. And if you look around, there are many restaurants, shops where the prices are very reasonable. Just for comparison, McDonald's is like 20% cheaper here than in most Western countries. If you go to a shopping mall and buy clothing, at the lower end, like H&M, prices are reasonable and very competitive.
Yeah.
Also, public transportation, super cheap. If you take the Dubai Metro, which is fully automated, it's just 60 or 70 US cents for a ride. Gas is extremely cheap. It's like 70 US cents per liter. You need to add the conversion to gallons. So life can be incredibly affordable if you're willing to shop around. So it doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah, exactly. But the downside is that there are so many expensive options. There's so many things that you can do. It's like, I tell my friends at home, I'm like, oh, if someone gives you like $10 million, they're like, hey, gun to your head, you have to spend this today. You'll have a little bit hard time, spending that. Of course, I mean, you can go buy real estate or whatever. But in Dubai, you don't even need to buy real estate. Like there are things that you can just buy today. So the range is so massive. And then here's what I think. I think if you're a single guy who likes to party, Dubai will drain you. I think Dubai
if you're not disciplined.
If you're not disciplined, if you're not financially disciplined, and you have no financial literacy, you come to Dubai will literally drain you and send you home.
I agree. I fully agree. That's right. Thankfully, I'm super disciplined and super frugal. That's the Germanness in me. So
yeah, for sure. Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thanks for watching. Like I said, if you want to contact Lucas from the Dubai Navigator, make sure you click on the link in the bio. It's got his phone number. It's got his website. Give him a call, free consultation, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully you guys enjoy this podcast. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys very soon. Ciao.